If a gradient fill had a skew in its composite transform, previously the results from editing the fill using the gradient tool wouldn't have been predictable or robust really. So we can see we've got a round rect with a linear gradient fill, and we've skewed the round rect, and now we're going to edit the fill using the gradient tool. So all I'm going to do is pick up the black node and rotate it around the white node. Now what I would expect as a user is to just see what we've got rotated around the white node. So let's see what happens. We can see strange speed ups, slow downs, and it's not what I would expect as a user. It's not predictable enough. You wouldn't be able to plan what to do with your document if it suddenly sped up like that, especially if you had animation, you was interpolating between node positions and so on. That's all fixed now, and I can show you in the new build the new behaviour. So this is the new build set up in a similar way, a round rect with a linear gradient fill, added a skew to the round rect. Now if we edit the fill by picking up the black node again and rotating it around the white node, we won't see what we previously saw, which is these speed ups and slow downs. We should see what we've currently got just rotated, which is what we're seeing now. It's a lot more predictable, a lot more understandable to what's going on, and it makes the whole thing more robust and predictable. How I've done this is to have an additional transform that goes from the model space of the fill to an axis aligned model space, which is the from node of the fill aligned to 0, 0, the end node rotated around so this major axis of the fill is directly aligned with the x-axis of its model space, and then there's an additional axis which is this minor axis which let's say in this case follows the contours of this blue part of the fill, so it goes southwest and it's around here somewhere. I would then add a horizontal skew to align it with the y-axis, and then a flip to flip it over so it's positive. So you could then take any position from the screen to the world, from the world to the fill's model space, and then from the fill's model space to the axis aligned fill space, and from there we could easily work out what part of the fill you're actually in, and so determine what colour to use. Fills generally have been improved in so much as they can also now be edited by any of the generic transform tools. So if I just add a fill layer, an elliptical fill layer for instance, we can now select it and use the transform tool to change the translation, the scale, the rotation. So the transform tools know how to select fills and how to render the selection. In this case we get an outline, and that's any of the transform tools. So the rotate tool, the skew tool, so they all know now how to work directly with gradient fills. So gradient fills are more robust and predictable, especially when there's a skew in its composite transform, and all of the transform tools also now know how to directly work with gradient fills.